play the Trump refuses to say he'll abide by the election results? We've just been talking about it, right?
Yeah, we haven't played it.
Okay, let's play this because this, again, was so obvious it was going to be the big takeaway from the debate. But more importantly, I think the big takeaway is not just the fact that, like, oh my God, he's, for the, as if talking about your penis size in a presidential debate was not also sort of an attack on our norms and the institutions and whatnot.
And, saying you could win if you get shot in Fifth Avenue. He's had a few attacks on our norms, I would say.
The important thing about this is it's an indication that he knows he's going to lose, and he's done sacrificing his plans for after the election for like a last ditch before the election.
Right.
Here it is.
Your running mate, Governor Pence, pledged on Sunday that he and you, his words, will absolutely accept the result of this election. Today, your daughter Ivanka said the same thing. I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time. What I've seen is so bad. Yeah. First of all, the media is so dishonest and so corrupt, and the pile-on is so amazing. The New York Times actually wrote an article about it that they don't even care. It's so dishonest, and they've poisoned the minds of the voters. But unfortunately for them, I think the voters are seeing through it.
There is a tradition in this country, in fact,
hold on,
one of the
pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. He sort of saves himself a little bit, but at one point he's saying, even if I lose just because all the voters think I shouldn't be president, that's illegitimate.
That's right.
Because their minds have been poisoned.
Been corrupted by the media.
I mean, that, and I think he realized, like, oh, wait a second, I think I went a little too far by saying, like, but I think they're seeing through that. But it's still sort of out there.
And did you hear it?
This is sort of the classic libertarian argument, too. Like, well, the problem is that the American public still wants things from their government.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's not a problem for them as much as it is for your philosophy.
Right, your philosophy is an issue. Even there, like, the whole thing is like, the media has been so terrible to me and they've been so biased. The New York Times wrote a story about it. Which
but
is
then
like,
he has to back off.
So it's like, oh, well, yeah. So the place that's so mean to you actually mentioned they were mean to you. And, I mean,
all right, continue with
he's hilarious. Go ahead.
Country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Not saying that you're necessarily going to be the loser or the winner, but that the loser concedes to the winner, and that the country comes together in part for the good of the country. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him. The FBI conducted a year-long investigation into my emails. They concluded there was no case. He said the FBI was rigged. He lost the Iowa caucus. He lost the Wisconsin primary. He said the Republican primary was rigged against him. Then Trump University gets sued for fraud and racketeering. He claims the court system and the federal judge is rigged against him. There was even a time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against him.
Should have gotten it.
This is a mindset. This is how Donald thinks. And it's funny, but it's also really troubling.
I mean, when I heard that in time, I thought that the Emmy thing made it, just gave it too much of it released the tension.
I agree. I wouldn't have used that either because I know she's trying to point out the triviality of it, but in the end it gave him a little bit of a laugh line.
I actually think now that I listen back, I see what she was doing.
I do, but I think
that was also to make it impossible for him to use rigged in the way that Bernie Sanders used rigged. It was for her to make it that when Donald Trump says rigged, he doesn't care about you.
Right.
He doesn't care about the system being rigged against you. He only cares about rigged in terms of himself. Now,
right, it's not just politics too. Anything in life that doesn't work out for him must be rigged.
Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.